Good morning. Welcome to Lovebabz Lovetalk. This is a exciting edition this morning. I've got Dianne Lake from Yale Law Students Demanding Better, and she's in studio with me because y'all know what's going on over at Yale. Y'all know what's going on around the country. At 10 o'clock, another historic congressional hearing around this Kavanaugh stuff, which we saw 30 years ago with Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas. History repeats itself, and we seem to have not learned. Pull the mic closer to you, yes, so we could hear you. Good morning. Oh, you are welcome to be here. I'm so glad that you were able to be here. So what's going on, Dianne? Tell me, what's happening over there? I saw the sit-in that kicked off the other day, and the March to the Green. I was on the Green with some of the folks, and I knew the law students were coming over, but I had missed them. But I knew they were sitting in about almost 200 students. Oh. Hold on one second. Harry, I can't hear her. She doesn't sound like her mic is up. I got her all the way up. Sorry about that, Dianne. We're trying to get technical so we can hear every bit of this conversation. Okay, I heard it pop.
Hello.
There we go. See, that's better. That is much better. All right, so tell me what's going on over at the Yale Law School, because you had this sit-in, and I know you're over there leading stuff.
I mean, so it's been really a huge team of student organizers that have rallied behind this since late last week, actually. Shortly after the new allegations came out, we had a conversation in our own school about how this nomination was deeply tied to YLS as an institution, since over the summer, the school released a press release that many took as YLS endorsing Kavanaugh. And since then, students have been really frustrated, actually, by this perception now that many in the country have that YLS puts its proximity to power over community values, particularly as it relates to Kavanaugh's judicial record. So in the first place, folks were concerned about this potential Supreme Court justice's impact on a lot of issues of abortion access, reproductive health, criminal justice, LGBTQ community. And then for it to be revealed last week that there were these very credible allegations of sexual assault against him, we believe that we had a duty to advocate as fiercely as we could for this confirmation process to be halted, and for there to be a full and thorough investigation into the allegations for someone who is going to have a lifetime appointment onto the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. This is such an important position that we cannot take these things lightly, and that's why in the wake of that, Yale Law Students Demanding Better organized to have concurrent protests in Washington, D.C.
I was just going to ask you, because the ones in D.C. are much more rowdier than the ones here at the law school.
I mean, our folks in D.C., so we got over 115 students and other YLS community members down to D.C. We chartered a bus to get them down there, and they were protesting in senators' offices, and they were protesting in the Senate Rotunda, where over 80 people got arrested, including 2 YLS students that got arrested. And they were protesting throughout the day with other community organizers in DC and tons of other folks that had come down to protest, to demand that there be a full investigation and for the hearing to be halted, and just to express who have been against this nomination from the start. And our folks in DC ended with a conference with Senator Blumenthal and Senator Coons at the end of the day in the same room where Anita Hill had testified during the Clarence Thomas hearings.
Are you stunned by all of this?
It's it's disappointing
because
not surprising.
You're a young woman. You remember the Anita Hill, Clarence? Because I remember watching them. Every day I watched those hearings.
So that's what's even more surreal for me. I don't remember that. It almost seems like a distant, dark moment in history for me, and it's truly disturbing that that moment would be repeating itself in my lifetime. It's crazy to think that 30 years later, we still haven't made any progress in how we believe women who come forward, how we respect women's testimonies, how we treat women when they come forward, and how we take sexual harassment and sexual assault seriously for a position like this. It's truly disturbing to think that we haven't made progress in that way.
I agree with you. I'm so glad to see the law students taking leadership on this, because he is a Yale law student graduate.
He is.
Right? And so what are you hearing from the administration? I mean, are they supportive? Are they quiet?
I can't really speak to the administration outside of the public statements that they have made in the press release, and the statements that the dean has made about not being able to speak on either side of the issue. And so for us, we've really looked to other members in our community to back us up in this. We had tons of faculty members that joined us to go to DC, and also at the sit-in in New Haven. Almost, I think over 40 faculty members signed a letter actually to the Senate Judiciary Committee. And we've had lots of other staff members and community members participating in our actions as well. So I think that regardless of what YLS, like as an institution, is sharing to the world, we want to make sure that YLS as a community is showing what we value to the world and what we think should be advocated for, and how we think our duty as future lawyers, our duties as people, as in this legal profession, and at one of the schools that has the most power in this legal profession, to do what's right in this situation.
So what other activities y'all have planned? Because it seems like y'all going to keep the pressure up for as long as this goes on.
Yeah, and the ideal hope is that it would go on for longer, but you've seen that the Senate have already rushed to have a possible vote tomorrow, with only today to hear Dr. Ford testify, which is absolutely ridiculous. And so today we will all be gathering as a community, actually shortly after this, to watch the hearings in solidarity of her, to show that we support her and that we believe her, and we'll be gathered throughout the day doing that.
Is she aware of what y'all are doing? Do you know?
I hope she does. I hope she knows that we're here for her, and I hope that all survivors across the country know that we take this so seriously, and want to demonstrate that as fiercely as we can.
So tell me about your the Yale law students demanding better. What is the better part?
So Yale law students demanding better essentially formed after an event that we had at the school on Thursday, when we were talking about Judge Kavanaugh's sexual assault allegations in the context of the Me Too movement, and in the context of the climate of our school and how we deal with allegations of misconduct for folks in our community, and in the broader legal profession, such as what had happened earlier for the Judge Kaczynski situation, and how certain sort of cloisters of power keep these open secrets throughout the years without attending to them, without properly doing what's right to make sure we can get rid of toxic behavior. And so it was after that meeting, which did not go as students had hoped it would go. If I'll just say that that students felt really fired up after that, and really unsatisfied with how the school was dealing with the situation. And so it started off with leaders of several affinity groups at YLS, the Black Law Students Association. I'm the president of Black Law Students Association, the Yale Law Women, their entire board, the Title IX Working Group, the Latinx Law Students Association, the South Asian Law Students Association, the Middle Eastern and North
So y'all
African
got all the
Law
peoples
Students
of color.
Association, Outlaws, Think Different. We really brought all these affinity group leaders together so we could have a call to action about what we were going to do for our community. And that was just the first meeting though. But after that, so many other people came into the fold, and I'm so thankful for all the people that have contributed to this action. I think at this point we're over like 60 people have been contributing to the various things that we're doing, because so many people in our community feel strongly about this. And so I'm glad that we were able to kick things off in this way and to have so many people come together for this.
Mm-hmm. So what's the mood of the campus right now?
It's tense because nobody knows what's going to happen next, and part of it is a fear that what we're doing is not enough, which would just be so disappointing to have history repeat itself again. And part of it is uncertainty, and part of it is having so many people in our community deeply affected by the way that these allegations of sexual assault are being treated, and how that reflects either on their experiences, their personal experiences, and what they think about how people respect and react to these this type of misconduct generally. So I think there's a lot. It's really raw for a lot of people.
I would imagine it would be, and particularly when you have the president of the United States running around saying, why did she take so long and whatever, which is, from where I come from, speaks to a level of ignorance about what sexual assault and harassment and all these kinds of things can do to somebody and what it means. And he's speaking from a place of total willful ignorance. Yeah. And people seem to be, I see more people not buying it, but I still see his core feeling like he speaks for them.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, and it's, I wish folks would open their eyes to the situation. And I think especially after more allegations have come out, especially after Debbie Ramirez spoke out, who actually went to Yale College with Kavanaugh, and now after the third allegation, I'm like, people need to open their eyes to what is going on here.
And the folks that said something about when you go see Judge Kavanaugh for an internship or whatever.
Exactly. So that was part of the conversation we were having in our community, because so many people from YLS go and clerk for him. And so we think it's a basic acknowledgement here. You don't have to, if you don't believe these women right away, you should still support a full investigation. Why would anyone not say, let's have a full and fair, impartial investigation? Like that should be a nonpartisan issue. Why would we say, oh, there's a lot of disturbing allegations come out, therefore let's rush and vote as quick as we can to get it out of the way? That doesn't make any sense. That goes completely against due process values. And so we really need to get it right this time.
Do you think we will? I don't feel like we will, because they're already talking about having a vote tomorrow. And then there's this other one, the other woman hasn't even been heard yet. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone should be heard. But the Federal Bureau of Investigations, this is what they do. And so on one of the news sites, they these same men who are going to be in front of this woman today, some of the same ones were in front of Anita Hill, and they were talking about how it was just the opposite, how this deserves a FBI, this deserves Federal Bureau of Investigations. Like, this deserves investigations. Like, they'll say that for so many other things, but not for this particular issue.
It's a huge disappointment in the political leaders of this country, and not making sure that justice is properly done.
So as a becoming attorney, what does this do for you? Like, does this fuel you to continue to do this work? Does it crystallize the kind of work that you want to do? Because you're an activist to your core, I imagine.
It does, and in a way, the legal profession itself has these pillars of professional responsibility and of ethics, and so in a way, this is completely. I mean, the senators, they're not lawyers, and so I don't know how this conversation, thinking about the law, thinking about the type of obligations attorneys have, plays into this, but I think, in terms of the legal profession broadly, there are certain values and responsibilities we all have in this legal profession to make sure that we are upholding ethical values.
Mm-hmm.
And it really shocks me when that is not the case. But at the same time, I'm glad to be getting this education, and I'm glad to be learning about how to work in this profession so that I can uphold what is right through the work that I do later on.
So y'all are going to sit through the hearing today.
Yes.
And then what happens next?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we're going to continue to rally and act around all that is going on, the hearings today, the possible vote. But I said, the uncertainty in the air is very disconcerting.
I would imagine that it would be, and the fact that y'all came together, the affinity groups came together rather quickly to sort of show solidarity, because I think this is, even on its face value, if we don't protest and stand out against this, then this becomes the normal operating procedure.
Exactly.
And all the gains that we made around women's issue and believing that we believe women, it gets pushed away.
Yeah. And it's twofold in this situation, because one, it gets pushed away if we don't hear these women, and if we don't make sure that there's a full investigation. But all that progress also gets pushed away through Kavanaugh's judicial power that he will have if he is on the court. And so it's not just this specific issue of sexual misconduct, which in and of itself is already extremely serious. It's on top of that, a broader issue of what type of impacts his judicial decisions will have on women's bodies, on women's access to healthcare, access to reproductive rights, and other rights more broadly. So we need to think very critically about the different types of dangers that this nomination and possible confirmation poses to our country, one symbolically and also in reality in terms of our laws and our legislation.
I think you're absolutely right. So is this group going to stay a group? Are you going to stay an organizing body?
We hope to keep demanding better for many things. I don't think there's any way that this is a beginning of a conversation. This is a beginning of a conversation, not only for the country, but in our school, in our legal community. And so this group came together not only for this Kavanaugh issue, but because we wanted to push our community to reflect. And we did so with a town hall this past Tuesday.
At Battelle, right?
At Battelle Chapel.
How did that go? What did you learn from that?
It was one of the very first opportunities that I've had at this school to see our community come together in this way. It was really powerful to have that space for folks to give testimonials and speak out and have questions, and to have so many faculty and staff there to listen and to respond. A lot of what went on at the town hall, we want to keep internal with the school, because this is us getting our house right. We're trying to fix our house right now.
I feel that.
And so there's a lot that we want to keep within the school, but I think more broadly as to what I can speak to from that event, I think it showed that people are actually invested in making change.
It happened rather fast.
It happened rather fast.
Like they didn't drag their feet. They didn't say like next semester we'll have this conversation.
No. Well, we said YLS students demanded this conversation to happen this week. And so we were glad that so many professors and so many staff showed out to support that conversation and to support the start of thinking so much more critically about how we in our community deal with toxic issues.
Well, this is one of many. I mean, you've got a whole lot of being black at Yale or black at Yale kinds of levels things, and I know there are a lot of organizing groups that sort of try to tackle some of these issues, but I've never seen this body come together in this fashion, which I think is a true testament to, I think, one, your leadership. And two,
lots of leaders in this
lots of leadership. I know a lot of these young sisters over there, that are pulling things together, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I think it's good for the body of New Haven to see that that something internally is happening at the university around this.
And we even try to acknowledge at the sit-in, we understand that YLS, not only this physical building, but the institution itself has an impact on everything that it touches, whether it's the New Haven community, whether it's our alumni's effect on the world. And we want folks to know that we're aware of that. And we want to make sure that we're holding our community accountable to doing right by the world that we impact.
But I think this is what Yale could do. I think this is what Yale and schools of its like can do, ought to be doing, making the world a better place. And that they have the resources to turn out some of the best and brightest freedom fighters and activists that walk this earth. I mean, I think that's what they ought to be doing, right? So you can't just get this education and be like, I don't care about the world and I don't care what's happening, but that you get this education and you go and make a bigger difference. So how are you holding up through all of this? Because this is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's about so many things that are bigger than me, and I'm just one part of this. And I think that in getting through this and getting through the most difficult moments of this is knowing that I have a community of people who are all rallying around this cause. This is not a one-man thing for any of us. This is from the jump. This was a community of people organizing, and I've been so grateful for that, to know that there are so many other students that are ready to join in advocating for this, but other students that care deeply about each other as humans and want to make sure that we're doing this not just to stir the pot. We're doing this because this matters to us, and because we believe that in our community every single person should be respected, every single person deserves equitable treatment, and in the legal profession and in our school, we hope that we can work against discrimination in every facet of it manifests in. And so I've really been heartened by that unity, and that's what's really keeping me going.
I know you have to go. Have y'all put out a statement as a body?
We have several statements that we've made to the school, and we'll soon be sharing more with the press throughout all of these actions. And we also do actually have a Facebook page documenting all of our actions.
Okay.
Yes. Yale Law Students Demanding Better. You can find us on Facebook. We have videos from DC. We have videos from the sit-in. We have updates about other actions that are related to the hearings going on. And so Facebook, Yale Law Students Demanding Better is where to keep up with what we're doing throughout all of these events.
Well, thank you so much, Dianne.
Thank you so much for having me.
I adore you. I love the work that you're doing, and I so appreciate your leadership over there.
And thank you for your support.
And anytime you want to come back to update us, you come back and let us know. Thank
you.
y'all. Thank y'all for listening to my friend Dianne Lake. I love her. And we're going to be live blogging from here, the hearing. So we'll be watching the hearings too.
All right.
All right, my dear. Thank you so much, Harry. I'm gonna put some music on, and then I'll come back and we'll talk.
Step to the dance floor, got all these shorties, and they all speak.
All right, thank you so much, Harry. I'm gonna put some music on, and then I'll come back and we'll talk.
Step to the dance floor.